She was the perfect neighbor. He was the trusted sheriff. And for 20 years, no one knew what was buried beneath their small-town smiles. But when a missing girl's diary and an unmarked VHS tape surfaced, everything unraveled. What they found wasn't just one secret. It was a chain of evil, a system of silence, and a girl who was never supposed to be found. Collision the moment you think the mystery is solved. A single word written in blood changes everything. If you want to uncover what really happened, watch this story till the end. Fire, and if you want more chilling true stories like this one, don't forget to subscribe. Drop a comment with your thoughts, and tell us what secrets you want uncovered next. He was the last person you'd suspect. Smiling in church pews, hosting weekend barbecues, volunteering for the neighborhood watch. But behind that warm smile was a secret so dark, even God wouldn't forgive it. Tennessee, summer of '98. Small town, big porches, and secrets buried deeper than backyard pools. Her name was Lily, 16. Homecoming queen, straight-A student, the kind of girl that made teachers proud and boys nervous. And she vanished on a Tuesday. No note, no screams. Just a phone left on the sidewalk, still buzzing with a missed call from Mom. The town tore itself apart looking for her. Posters stapled to telephone poles. Volunteers combing the woods. Pastors praying louder than ever before. But he didn't flinch. He offered hot cocoa to the search team. He hugged Lily's mother with shaking hands. And every night, he whispered something under his breath. Not a prayer. Not a confession. Just one sentence. I didn't mean to. Weeks passed. Then months. The case grew cold, like the soil in her backyard. Until one fall afternoon, a realtor found something strange while prepping the house for sale. A shallow sink in the garden. A patch of earth that never grew grass. And when they dug, they found more than bones. They found Lily's diary. And a name circled again and again, in shaky ink. Mr. Carson, the beloved neighbor. The same man who handed out full-size Snickers every Halloween. The one who gave Lily rides home after cheer practice. The man who'd locked away a truth so brutal, even his own wife didn't know. But the diary wasn't the only thing they found. In the same box, buried under layers of tarp and time, a videotape, dated the night she disappeared. Still unplayed. Still sealed. Waiting. Ticking. The tape slid into the old VHS player at the sheriff's office. Everyone stood silent. No breathing. No blinking. Static filled the screen. Then a shaky frame. A dimly lit basement. A girl's voice, trembling. If you're watching this, I didn't run away. Lily's face appeared, pale and terrified, a shadow moving behind her. She whispered. He said no one would believe me. The room spun. The sheriff's hands shook. And then, click. The tape cut off. Only silence. Only horror. Mr. Carson was arrested that night. No resistance. No tears. But when they asked him about the tape, he said 6 words that froze every soul in that room. That wasn't the only one she made. The house was searched again. This time deeper. Behind drywall. Under floorboards. Inside old toolboxes caked in rust. And then, in a dusty crawl space behind the water heater, a second tape. Marked in red Sharpie. Don't forget me. They played it. This one was longer. Lily wasn't alone. Another girl. Unknown. Eyes swollen. Mouth taped. And Carson's voice. Off camera. Calm. Rehearsed. Like a bedtime story. No one's looking for you. Just like no one looked for her. The room erupted. Detectives ran out to vomit. One fainted. Back at the jail, Carson sat in silence, watching the rain slide down the window. Smiling. He said he had more. Tapes. Names. Stories. But he'd only tell them to one person. Lily's mother. Alone. In his cell. They said no. Of course they said no. But grief does strange things to a mother. And revenge does stranger. 3 days later, she walked into the jail with trembling hands and fire behind her eyes. The warden protested. The officers begged. She ignored them all. One chair, one table, one man, sitting across from her in shackles, with a smirk carved into his face like stone. "Thank you for coming, Diane," he said like they were old friends. She didn't answer. She just stared. And then he slid a piece of paper across the table. Folded. Stained. 3 names. He whispered. All buried. Just like Lily. She reached for the paper. He pulled it back. "First, I want something." Her fists clenched. Her breath caught. "I want you to forgive me." She blinked, as if the word itself was poison. Then she leaned forward, her voice barely above a whisper. "You want forgiveness?" He nodded, smile widening. She smiled too. Soft, deadly. And said, "You'll find it where you buried them." She stood, tears now streaming, but her spine never bending. Outside the cell, officers swarmed him, dragged him back, still laughing, still holding that folded paper. But he never gave it up. That night, he was found unconscious in his cell, wrists lashed. No note, just blood on the walls, and one word written in it. 4. There were only supposed to be 3, but now they had to ask, who was the 4th? The prison went on lockdown. Inmates were moved. Cells were searched, but the paper, the one with the names, was gone. Security footage showed nothing. No visitors. No guards entering his cell. Just Carson, sitting still for hours, like he was waiting for someone, or something. Meanwhile, back in the town, Diane couldn't sleep. Every sound outside felt like footsteps. Every shadow looked like Lily. And then, on the 4th night, her front porch light flickered. When she opened the door, no one was there. Just a small cardboard box, wrapped in brown paper. No return address. No note. Inside, a VHS tape. And a necklace. Lily's necklace. But this tape wasn't labeled. She held it in shaking hands, then drove straight to the sheriff's office. She didn't wait for permission. She pushed the tape in herself. The screen flickered. Footsteps. Heavy breathing. A dim hallway. Walls lined with wood paneling. And then, a girl. But not Lily. Not the girl from the second tape. Someone else. Older. Eyes filled with defiance. And she was holding a camera. "You don't know me," the girl said. "But I know him." She turned the camera. And the face that appeared wasn't Carson's. It was younger, taller, wearing a sheriff's badge. And behind him, on a table, was the same box Diane had just opened. The room went cold. The sheriff reached out, fumbled for the pause button. But before he could touch it, the screen went black. And 3 words burned onto the screen. "You're not done." No one moved. Not the deputies. Not Diane. Not even the sheriff. The room felt like a trap, as if the walls themselves were listening. Diane's voice broke the silence. Low. Controlled. Like glass beneath her breath. "Who's that girl?" The sheriff didn't answer. He just stared at the screen, at his own face frozen in time, caught in a moment he never expected to be seen. Outside, sirens wailed in the distance. Inside, everything fell apart. Deputies looked at each other, doubt creeping in, eyes narrowing. "Sheriff," one of them finally said, "you want to explain this?" He didn't blink, didn't flinch. Instead, he stood, slowly unhooked his badge, and placed it on the table. "I need a lawyer." That's when the floodgates burst. Search warrants. Phone records. A crawl through 20 years of silence. Turns out Carson wasn't working alone. He never was. He was the face, the distraction. But someone else had protected him, moved the evidence, destroyed files. And the one man with the power to do that wore a badge. Worse still, they found another tape. This one mailed directly to the FBI. Same girl. Same defiant eyes. But this time, she was crying. "He said I'd be next if I didn't keep quiet. He said no one would believe me because he's the law." He said. She looked off screen, voice trembling. I think I think there's more of us. The agents paused the footage, and for the first time, even they looked shaken. This wasn't just one predator. This was a chain, a network, protected by uniforms and small-town silence. And somewhere out there, more boxes, more girls, more names, buried in places only they knew. And one name scrawled in the corner of the tape label. Maddie. No last name, no photo, just that one word. And Diane knew that name. It was Lily's best friend, who moved away. Or so they'd been told. But Diane remembered now. The way Maddie's mom had cried behind closed doors. The sudden house sale. The whispering neighbors. Maddie never moved. She vanished. And no one ever asked why. Diane stood in the hallway of the sheriff's office. Hand pressed her chest, heart beating louder than the sirens outside. Maddie. She hadn't heard that name in years. But now it echoed, in every corner of her mind, like a warning she'd ignored too long. She pulled out her phone, searched old messages, photos, anything. There was one, a picture from Lily's 15th birthday. Cake, balloons, and Maddie right beside her, arms linked, eyes bright. That was the last photo ever taken of her. No goodbye, no forwarding address, just gone. Diane drove straight to Maddie's old house. It had been vacant for years. Overgrown yard, boarded windows, the kind of place kids dared each other to run past at night. She pushed open the gate. It creaked like something alive. The front door was locked, but the back, where the screen hung loose and the hinges rusted through, opened with a slow, aching groan. Inside, dust, cobwebs, abandoned furniture draped in yellowing sheets. And on the kitchen wall, carved deep into the wood paneling, "I'm still here." Diane froze, ran her fingers over the letters. Fresh. Not 20 years old. Not even 20 days. She grabbed her phone. No signal. Then she heard it. A soft knock. Not from the door. From the floor. 3 knocks. Slow. Measured. From beneath her feet. She dropped to her knees, pressed her ear to the old linoleum, and heard breathing. Then a voice. Faint. Broken. "Please don't leave me." Diane's breath caught in her throat. She whispered, barely audible. "Maddie." A pause. Then the voice again, shaky, hoarse, but real. "You found me." Diane scrambled, palms sliding across the floor, searching for seams, latches, anything. She found a gap beneath the old fridge. With a grunt, she shoved the heavy appliance aside. It scraped across the floor like a scream. Beneath it, a trapdoor, bolted shut from the outside. Her hands shook as she twisted the rusted latch. It groaned open. Stale air hit her face. Cold. Moldy. Like something long forgotten. She flicked on her phone's flashlight and peered down. A narrow wooden ladder led into darkness. And at the bottom, a girl, barely recognizable, hair tangled, eyes sunken, but unmistakably Maddie, chained by the ankle. Diane descended, heart pounding. "Maddie, it's okay. I'm here. I'm gonna get you out." Maddie backed away at first, blinking into the light. She looked like a ghost who didn't know she was still alive. "He said no one would come," she whispered. "He told me they all forgot. That I was a mistake. That if I left, they'd find Lily too." Diane knelt in front of her, tears streaking her cheeks. "No one forgot. They lied to you. You were never a mistake." She reached for the chain, but the lock was old, sealed shut with rust. She needed help. She needed tools. She needed to get out. But as she turned to climb back up, the trapdoor slammed shut, and the flashlight in her hand flickered once. Then went dark. Total darkness swallowed them. The kind that feels thick, suffocating, alive. Diane gasped, spinning toward the ladder. She banged on the trapdoor above, screaming, "Hey, somebody, we're down here." No answer. Only silence, and the sound of Maddie softly crying behind her. "I told you," Maddie whispered. They never let anyone leave. Diane turned, heart thundering in her ears. No, listen to me. This isn't over. They think they've won. But I found you. We're not done. Her hands fumbled through her pockets. Searching. Phone dead. Keys useless. Then, her fingers brushed something metal. A small utility knife. She'd forgotten she even had it. She dropped to Maddie's ankle. Worked at the chain. Careful. Quiet. Focused. Every scratch of metal echoed through the space like a scream. Then, a click. The shackle fell loose. Maddie gasped. First breath of freedom in years. They moved to the ladder together, climbing slowly, every creak a threat. Diane pushed at the trapdoor. It didn't budge. She pushed again. Harder. Then she heard it. Footsteps. Not upstairs. Above the trapdoor. Standing. Waiting. And a voice. Calm. Smooth. Like velvet over glass. You never should have come here, Diane. She froze. Maddie clutched her arm. No, it's him. It's the other one. The voice continued. You think you're saving her? You're just replacing her. Diane's voice cracked. What do you want? Silence. Then, a whisper through the floorboards. I want her back. Diane's blood turned cold. Her back pressed against the underside of the trapdoor, arms shielding Maddie behind her. You can't have her, she hissed. Her voice shook, but her words didn't. Above, the footsteps shifted. Closer now. Circling. Wood groaned. Floorboards creaked. You don't understand, the voice said. She was mine. They all were. Until she ruined it. A pause. Long. Too long, she told. Then the sound of something being dragged. Metal against wood. A chain? A pipe? No. A chair. He was settling in. Taking his time. Carson was a blunt tool. He needed guidance. Control. That was me. Diane's mind raced. A second predator. The real one. The one who made it all work. You think this ends with her? He asked. You're too late. There are more now. And one of them. He paused again. Then, she's already with me. Maddie's grip tightened on Diane's sleeve. Her voice, barely audible. He means Olivia. Diane turned. What? Maddie looked up, tears cutting tracks through the dirt on her cheeks. She's my sister. She disappeared last year. Same house. Same voice. Above them, the chair scraped again. Then silence. Then, a new sound. Soft. Mechanical. The click of a lighter. The whoosh of flame. And the faint crackle of burning wood. He wasn't going to kill them. He was going to bury them. Alive. Smoke began to bleed through the cracks above. Thin at first, then thicker. Hot. Dry. Pulling the oxygen from the air, like a thief in the night. Maddie coughed. Hunched low. Eyes wide. Terrified. Diane yanked off her sweatshirt. Pressed it over Maddie's face. Stay low. Don't panic. But she was panicking. Inside, her mind was screaming. The ladder rattled under her feet as she climbed. She slammed her fists into the trapdoor. Again. Again. Screaming until her voice tore. Help. Someone, please. But the only reply was the crackle above. And the slow curling smoke slipping downward like fingers reaching to pull them under. Diane dropped back down. Her hands trembled as she looked around the crawl space. There had to be something. A vent. A panel. Anything. And then, her foot hit something hollow. Wood. Not wall. A false panel in the corner. She clawed at it. Ripped splinters into her fingers until blood ran down her wrists. It gave way. A tunnel. Narrow, dark but open. She grabbed Maddie's hand. We crawl. Now. They moved fast. On knees and elbows. Choking on smoke and adrenaline. The tunnel twisted. Once. Twice. Then opened into a root cellar. Collapsed shelves. Old pickling jars. But above them, a wooden slat roof. And daylight. Diane launched upward, splintering through the rotting planks. Fresh air hit her lungs like fire and ice at once. She turned back. pulled Maddie out with everything she had. They collapsed in the overgrown yard behind the old property, gasping, coughing,
crying.
and behind them, the house roared, flames shooting from windows, ash rising like ghosts. Sirens echoed in the distance, growing louder. Diane cradled Maddie in her arms. "You're safe," she whispered, but her eyes stayed fixed on the fire, because she knew this wasn't over. Carson was only the beginning. The sheriff was just the middle. And the man who lit the match, he was still out there. And somewhere, a girl named Olivia was waiting to be found. 2 weeks later, the town stood quiet beneath overcast skies. The house was gone, burned to its bones, cleared down to ash and memory. But the truth, the rot beneath it, had finally surfaced. Diane sat on the courthouse steps, a photo of Lily in one hand, Maddie beside her, wrapped in a soft hoodie, with a police badge stitched near the collar, not from fear, but protection. Inside the courthouse, a dozen names were read aloud. Arrests were made. 2 more officers, a retired teacher, a foster parent across town. The system had cracked. And, behind it, faces no one had dared to question. Until now. They didn't find Olivia right away. But they had a lead. A highway camera. A license plate. And for the first time in years, the right people were asking the right questions. Maddie started therapy. She spoke slowly, carefully, but the silence no longer controlled her. She and Diane lit a candle for Lily every Sunday. Sometimes they didn't speak. They didn't need to. Justice hadn't healed everything.
But it started something.
In the town where secrets once lived in shadows, truth had finally stepped into the light. And somewhere, in a quiet motel, 3 states away, a young girl with brown eyes looked up. As headlights pulled into the lot, she held tight to the necklace around her neck, the same one Lily once wore. And when the knock came at the door, she didn't run, because for the first time, someone had come looking. Someone who wouldn't stop. Not until every girl was home.